conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping and Paul Felder.
It's freezing in your house?
In my basement. It's always freezing. Yeah.
Well, it's boiling here. I've got the AC on now, though, so I won't be bitching through the show going, oh, babe, turn it off. And people won't have to say, he's not even paying attention to Paul Felder. He's on the phone. Most of the time when I'm on the phone, I'm texting dialogue about the AC or the air conditioning or it's too hot or whatever. But never mind that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 mixed martial arts podcast on the goddamn planet. Not only is the Iron Lung Paul Felder here, as always, he's always here. He's never not here. Paul, you have been so reliable. I mean, you haven't missed a show.
You know what, though? It's so funny, too, because today it was
You can't, mate, next week.
I know, I can't. I can make it. But today I was like a chicken with his head cut off running around trying to find headphones. I forgot to plug in my computer just a second ago. My computer randomly shut off on itself. So I'm glad that it seems like I'm being very, professional. And I just touched my microphone again, Michael. I got to be real careful. The last time we did that, the whole system shut down. So.
Well, be very, very careful because today we have a stacked show planned. We've got
show.
Paul Craig joining us later on. He'll be telling us what went down. Of course, the co-main event fell out last minute. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, a good friend of yours, Paul, the one and only Jared Flash Gordon will be jumping on. Holy cow. What a knockout at the weekend that he had over Thiago Moises. You guys are boys. I want to hear some stories. Never mind the boring, inspirational stuff. I want to hear some shit, okay? I want you guys to get into it.
We will. And Jarrett will have plenty of grimy, crazy stories that, he can bring up his crazy past and some situations that we've had together out on Cowboys Ranch. And it's all good now, right? Obviously, we all know Jarrett is doing very well, but we all know that, and he's very vocal about that he's had a crazy checkered past that he's had to overcome to be where he's at today. So, yeah, we'll get into it for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, with the co-main event finishing, because we had a nice dinner planned on Saturday night. Did you go for a nice dinner? Was it good?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So this Italian spot, not too far from the Apex. I'd been there before with Zach and Jimmy and a couple other people, and it's solid. It was solid, yeah.
So I was going to come. Obviously, I was going to fly home Sunday morning. But then when the co-main event got cancelled, I thought, I might be able to make that 7:50 p.m. flight.
Let me get the hell out of here.
I said, Rebecca, book the flight. She books it. The co-main event finishes in the first round. We'll get to Michael Morales in a bit. I'm like, I've got loads of time because I had to go back to Resorts World, grab my bag. That takes 20 minutes, up to the 54th floor, coming down. EDC was on. There was Electric Daisy Carnival. Holy shit. We stop at every floor on the way down and in come some of the outfits. Tits out, asses out. Neon shit for days, face painting, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there was body parts out and about over the weekend. It was wild. And both men and women. I saw some dudes in some very interesting choice outfits throughout the time that I spent at Resorts World.
Dingly dangly bits.
Yeah, chains and shit and just crazy. A lot of different ethnicities and countries and too. I mean, people coming from all over for that thing. The airport was a bit of a to deal with. I don't know if you had that at that time. You're probably okay because everyone's still there.
Saturday night, anytime I leave, the airport is dead. It's great. Chase and Status, they were at the Apex. You might not know them, Paul. Legendary drum and bass outfit. Awesome music. I'm a big fan of theirs. Sol, one of the two guys. He's a big MMA fan. So he was at the Apex watching Paul Craig's fight, and of course that got cancelled. I flew home, made it home in the end. Had a nice luxurious Sunday, chilled out, didn't do much. What did you do yesterday, Paul?
I got in, hung out with the kids, played video games, went for a visit to see my mom. And then, just ordered some food, chilled out, didn't do shit, went to bed early, watched some of the Righteous Gemstones. We're on season 3 now of that show.
How good is that show?
My God, what a recommendation. I think you recommended it, right? You guys recommended it. other friends have recommended it. And by the time by the time you had said it, I'd already heard it from my brother and other people. I was like, okay, I got to watch it. And we absolutely love it. I mean, I don't want to say anything in case anybody hasn't watched it, but they just got freed. Let's put it that. The kids are out and chaos is ensuing with the brother-in-law or the mother-in-law and whatever. You know what I'm
Dude, it gets wild. It's a great show. Check it out, people, if you haven't done that. So let's get into these fights. Michael Morales. First main event, I do believe, taking on Gilbert Burns. Stylistically, a tough test. Gilbert Burns looked great against Jack Della Maddalena. Of course, he'd lost his last 3 in a row, going up against Michael Morales, 17-0. Looks like a bright future. He just goes out and starches, destroys, dominates, obliterates. I don't say this lightly because we're all fans of Gilbert Burns. He's a great human being, incredible fighter. But Michael Morales made that look easy. Yeah.
And just like you said, what makes it more impressive is I know Gilbert's been on a streak, but he's always putting up a fight. He didn't put up a fight necessarily in this one. And he did against Jack Della Maddalena, the current champ. He did against the number one contender in Sean Brady, where, Sean won that, I think, pretty cleanly, but it was a 5-round decision. I mean, he went 5 rounds. Leon didn't just go 5 rounds with Sean. And, I mean, he made it to the 3rd with Jack before he got hit with that knee and then finished. And then in this one, Morales got him out of there early. Now, the other question to play, what is it, Devil's Avocado with you guys, right?
Devil's Avocado.
Is this just because of these wars and beatdowns that he's taken from these top contenders, and now Michael Morales gets him at the end of that streak, and the button is just easier to push?
Well, that's always the question. And that's kind of what Paddy Pimblett was talking about as well, because he was like, when I go out there and I beat Michael Chandler, I'm not going to get the credit. People are going to say that he's 38 years old, which he was, and he was losing a few fights. Gilbert Burns is also 38 years old, and he lost 3 fights in a row. So it is easy to say that. And I guess in some ways, fair. I think it's fair because we know as fighters, physically you want to be there, you want to be in good shape, you want to be technically prepared. But once the losses rack up and then the doubt starts creeping in, you're not quite the same person. That's why when you're undefeated on the flip side, like Michael Morales, when you're 17-0, I was 15-0 at one point before I fought Rashad Evans. Highly contentious split decision, I might add. I thought I could beat anyone on the planet. And that is such a valuable asset. And until you've been a professional fighter, how many fights until you lost your role, Paul?
I was 10-0. I was 10-0 when I first lost. Yeah.
Talk to me about that feeling when you were 10-0, you were walking in. Oof.
Dude, it was against Edson Barboza for the first time. And as scary as he was back then, I remember thinking, I took that fight and I was like, I'm going to beat this guy. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock this guy out. And if it started well, it was going well in the first couple minutes of the round. I swelled his whole eye shut. And then, you lose to a veteran. You lose to a guy that's just a little bit trickier, a little bit savvier in there. And I remember just that feeling backstage. I couldn't believe it. Even after they announced him as the winner, I was all pissed. What do you mean? What do you mean I lost? I didn't lose that fight.
See, I was the other way, because when I fought Rashad Evans, I remember my coach at the time, my boxing coach, he was like, this is a stitch up, Mike. There's no way you're ready for somebody like Rashad Evans, right? This is because he's one of these NCAA Division I wrestlers. They're throwing you to the wolves here, Mike. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, coach, I have a little bit of confidence in me. Yeah. My God, So it was a split decision loss. And I had the wrong attitude. I was kind of glad. I was proud of myself, for it being a close fight, which is not the mindset you need to have as a fighter. But anyway, we are digressing on going off the point. Michael Morales had that mindset, had that attitude. The power in his hands is absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because when you look at Jack Della Maddalena, he's a smooth boxer. He looks like someone that could be a professional boxer. I wouldn't say the same thing about Michael Morales. They have very different styles of striking. Yeah. He's more like an MMA puncher. Yeah, big hooks, overhands.
He's kind of off balance sometimes. He leaves himself a bit vulnerable. And listen, he did exactly what a young guy getting a fight like that against Gilbert had to do. And I'm not knocking him whatsoever, but you can tell he's still green. He's not as smooth as Jack. He's not as smooth as some other guys. but it doesn't even seem to matter, right? That's what we're talking about. And that's what you're talking about, is that just shows you how much power he possesses, because the fact that he can touch him with a shot that's not the prettiest shots in the world, and he just puts these guys down. He did it to Trevin Giles. He did it to Fugit too. It's the same kind of punches. They're just like these awkward swings, and man, but he's a horse. He's a horse. Seeing him in there and how big he looked at 170 pounds, he's freaking massive.
I'm laughing because I saw a video on Twitter last night of Michael Morales, and I think it was at some like Ecuadorian festival or something. Yeah. And did you see it?
No,
he's like dressed up in like, I don't know, dressed up as a woman or something like that.
Oh,
yeah. Because you know what Twitter's like? They don't mess around, right?
Nobody forgets.
Here he is, first main event. Right. And now all of a sudden the trolls are coming after him and posting these videos. And like, he was acting a little camp, blowing kisses and stuff like that, and dressed up, and he had like makeup on. I think it was him. It looked like him. The tattoos looked like him. I think it was him. But then everyone in the comments were like, dude, this is a tradition in Ecuador. It's what people do. It's some kind of festival that they all do. So stop with the bullshit narrative. Okay, I think they were trying to make out
like cross-dressing and stuff. Yeah,
just like being some kind of prostitute or something. It's like, it's an Ecuadorian festival. That's what people do. Okay.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah, they're all doing it.
Yeah. That's him, right?
Yeah. That's definitely him. That's definitely him. That haircut and everything. That's him. Not that I'm sure a lot of dudes down there now are probably be rocking that same haircut that he's got going on right now. But that's
Brian,
him, dude.
Hot off the trigger with that one. You weren't messing around, Brian.
That was clean, dude.
Weird as hell.
Yeah, I don't know what tradition that is, but hey, I'm not going to knock it. I don't know anything about it.
It's the oldest tradition in the world.
Yeah, dressing up as a woman. I've done it for Halloween back in the day.
Have you really? What did you dress as?
I dressed up as like a hooker when I was like a freshman in college, and I did like, dude, I looked like trash. I had like fake makeup running down my face, and young college days, man.
Well, and you were at a theatre
art school
as well.
Yeah,
art school. I mean, come on, Paul. It's not a surprise you were dressed as a woman. You were going to art school, okay?
Michael? Not the first time I've had to dress up as a woman either.
Oh, come on, pray tell. Break the news.
I did a play called Sylvia. It's the name of the play. It's a weird play about a guy who's obsessed with his dog, but the dog is played by a very attractive woman, just to kind of have like a weird, you can kind of understand why the wife is so jealous of the dog, even though it's a dog, but it's played by a lady. Doesn't say anything. She just acts like a dog, but she's like this hot blonde girl. And I played all the other characters other than the wife. I played the psychiatrist. I played the guy that he meets at the dog park. And I played a woman at a park that the lady goes and talks to. So I played a woman in the first thing, a guy in the next thing, and then I played this androgynous psychiatrist where you don't know if it's a man or a woman.
I mean, you are a real actor.
Yeah, that's real. That was a pain in the ass. I mean, I'd have to change into like some professional women's outfit in the beginning, then like a dude with a baseball hat and a t-shirt who's there at the dog park. Then it would transition into me in this psychiatrist's office with like couldn't tell if it's just a suit or is it like a women's business suit? And I had a weird wig on and glasses. Oh God, hopefully.
I don't know how this relates, but it does in some way. But if it walks like a dog and it barks like a dog, then it's probably a dog. Speaking of dogs, we took on that new German Shepherd recently, Ford. Great dog. Yeah. We still haven't heard him bark. He's still got some emotional problems, I think. But we have little Harry. And Harry's tiny, and the German Shepherd's gigantic. And he still doesn't come when he's called. This was hilarious. So last night, we're going out to get some barbecue. They're in the back garden. Oh, no, Ford's in the back garden, the German Shepherd, having a piss before we go out. And we're like, Ford, come on, Ford. And he's not coming. And little Harry gets off the couch, runs out, growls at him, and then the German Shepherd was like, runs in the house, and then Harry just runs in after him. It was
like, I wish I had it on film.
Is that do as you are told?
Yeah. What are you doing, bro?
You are being called inside and you're ignoring them. Funny shit, man. Funny shit.
Get in.
Who does Michael Morales face next? Because we've been talking about this on the podcast for a while now, but the welterweight division, we spoke about it on Saturday. It's on fire. It is the deepest division in the UFC right now. I would say without a shadow of a doubt. Jack's the champ, then Belal, Sean Brady, Shavkat, Leon, Kamaru, Ian Gary, Joaquin Buckley, Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, Jeff Neal, Stephen Thompson, Michael Morales. Yeah. How the hell is Colby still there at 9?
I was going to say.
He doesn't belong there at this point. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry, I'm looking at the rankings now.
Can we start using this guy to start washing out some of the people that don't really belong in the top 10, like Colby, right? Ian Gary, maybe?
Gilbert's number 8, so you got to think that he's going to take that ranking spot.
Yeah, he's going to take that. And Colby will get knocked down in that process, I'm sure. Should
we get Harrington on the show and see what he thinks? Here he is. Hold on, let's have a look at you, Harrington. I like the background.
Thank you.
I know who he should fight. I want to hear what Harrington thinks first, but I got a name. I think I got a good matchup for him.
So this
first of all,
yes,
Harrington.
Yes,
how are you, sir?
I'm great. Life is good, man. Absolutely no complaints on my end.
What is the backdrop?
The backdrop is there's no fight coming up this weekend, so I got the fight that I'm going to, which is Gladiator Z3 at the American Dream Mall, May 23rd.
He's not going to it. He's the voice of it.
I'm the voice of it, the veteran voice of the Armored Cage List.
Harrington, is there a way to watch it if we're not there?
Twitch.tv/The Armored League.
Can you send me that link?
Yeah, for sure.
Who will you be commentating with?
So it's going to be my friend, my broadcast partner on most things I do, Chris Fega, also known as Chris from Brooklyn, and former UFC veteran, your buddy from the Tough House, Jason Mayhem Miller.
I knew that. You told me earlier. That sounds actually like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a blast.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
I do want to watch it. Harrington, who should Michael Morales fight?
I mean, I was talking to a bunch of Wharton grads last night, the hoity-toity business school in Philadelphia. All those guys are all in on the fights. Everybody was talking about Michael Morales knocking out Gilbert Burns. And the one name everybody kept coming back to, Leon Edwards.
Yeah,
you just gave him a grappler. You gave him a jiu-jitsu guy. Let's see how he fares against an elite level striker. I think pretty well.
What were you going to say, Paul?
I was going to say Carlos Prates.
Yeah, so a lot of people on Twitter were saying Prates. The only problem is Carlos Prates is number 13, and he just got beat, right? Who beat him?
But here's Gary. My reason. Gary beat him. But my reasoning is Michael Morales is 25 years old. Like, we see this over and over again in the UFC. This kid comes out, he looks like a freaking stud because he is, but he's young. There's no rush to be making him fight for the belt quite yet. Let's have him fight another fun fight, get another 5-rounder, get more experience, or a big fight on a pay-per-view. Just give him as much attention as possible. If he beats Prates, awesome. He moves forward. If Prates beats him, he's back in the mix. And now we got Prates moving back up, and he's a star too. So it's like, I feel like one of them should move up the rankings. One of them is unfortunately not ready for prime time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As you say, 25 years old. The man's still a child, let's be honest. I've got a son he's 24? He's 24. Do you know what I mean? My son's 24 and I look at him as a baby. This guy's 25. Yes, he's 18-0, which is great. But as you mentioned, still a little bit off balance and stuff like that. Still got to be refined. Still got to learn some stuff. And it would be throwing him in the deep end, going up against Leon Edwards, a former champion. I mean, anyone else? I mean, even Ian Gary's, he's not going to want to fight downwards, which is annoying, but he just won't. And Carlos Prates, as you say, fun matchup. Maybe a winnable matchup and a good opportunity for Carlos Prates as well to, reinsert himself into the conversation. I like it. And
another striker, 2 strikers. It's like, okay, now you guys both like to go out there and look for the knockout. And I know Mike Morales won and he's undefeated, but I still think it's a good matchup just because, I don't want to see him get fed to the number 4 or 5 guy and he has an off night and he loses or he's not quite ready for that. And then everyone's saying, oh, this guy sucks. And you know how the MMA fan base is. Oh, he's a fluke. He's not real. And it's like, no, he's 25 years old. Let's slow play him a little bit because I do think he could be legit.
Build him.
Yeah, a little bit. But again, still tough fight. Still dangerous fights. I mean, it's not easy. It's still in the rankings. I don't think he needs to fight like the number 15 guy or out of the rankings. But yeah, he doesn't need to be fighting Gary yet.
No, take it slow. Take it slow. All right, this episode is sponsored by Prize Picks, and Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. And you can run your game all season long on Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And PrizePicks is your way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your pick in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports takes into real money all season long on Prize Picks. This week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at the basketball board, and I am selecting Donovan Mitchell for more than 26 points and Jason Tatum for more than 9 rebounds. Like, for example, like UFC 316 is around the corner. You might say, will Merab land more or less than 5 takedowns or 2 takedowns or whatever it is? More or less. That's how easy Prize Picks is. Basketball, mixed martial arts, whatever the sport you want to put some action on, Prize Picks has you covered. Download the app today and use the code BELIEVE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. As I said, download the app today, use the code BELIEVE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Mainly, other than the main event, mainly decisions. Well, they were all decisions on the main card. But the undercard, holy shit, if you missed the prelims on Saturday night, first fight of the night, Tisha Pennington taking on Luana Pinheiro, I think. Yeah. That was a good fight. Good way to start the evening or the afternoon. Then after that, it was just knockout after knockout after submission after knockout. If you didn't tune in for the prelims, you missed out. Some good ones there, Paul. Which was your favorite?
I'm going to go, well, Jared Gordon was on the prelims, so.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy. But anyway, whatever. He did his job, went out there and got a beautiful overhand right against a really tough guy. So I'm just pulling up the fights here.
No, you're good, bro. You're good.
Yeah, that was definitely my fight. Another one, too, Del Valle, right? Is that how we say it? He's an absolute scary individual. And Jared, I would say those two.
Do you know which one really stood out to me? And I really felt for her? Denise Gomes versus Elise Reed. Holy shit. Denise Gomes. Keep an eye on her. She's got dynamite in those hands, man. She knocked. Yeah. I see a lot of, if you Google it, Jason Herzog, who's a great referee that cares about the sport, cares about the fighter. I saw an article yesterday calling him the worst referee in the sport. And like, what was he waiting for to stop that fight? You know, if she'd have came back and fought her way back into it, they wouldn't be saying that then. But she did get dropped. She gets back up. She gets cracked again. Then another one. Then I think she went unconscious. Then the next punch brought Elise Reed back round, a vicious beatdown from Denise Gomes, of course.
Yeah, that was nasty. She got a bonus for that one, too.
Did she? Yeah, good. Yeah. She deserved it. Who got the bonuses?
Let's see. She got one. I think fight of the night was
Let me guess.
You know which one, yeah.
It had to be Melchizedek Costa versus Julia Nerosa.
Hell yeah, it was. Yeah.
Costa versus Rosa. Denise Gomes got one, and in the main event, Michael Morales got one for that first round KO.
Yeah, performance of the night, no doubt. All right, and that's a recap of all the action at the Apex. As I say, we've got Paul Craig joining in a wee bit, right? Can you do a Scottish accent, Paul?
No.
Come on, man. Right? You got to have a wee go. You bastard, you. I've got to swear if I'm doing a Scottish.
I gotta, what I gotta try to think of is Michael Myers in I Married an Axe Murderer. Do you remember that? And his dad is Scottish.
Yeah, Heed.
Oh man, I gotta watch that again. I think I'm gonna watch that movie tonight.
Paul, tell me you can do a Irish. Come on now.
I'm not going to embarrass myself here, but I did do a play. I did do another play where I did have to play like a crazy like rebel Irish guy, and his cat gets killed, and he goes on a rampage. Let me hear the accent.
Come on, Boyle.
I would need a line from the play. No.
All right. So he refuses for
maybe he will.
Oh, we can't see him on the screen.
Oh,
there we go. Look at
Come
this.
On.
Thug life.
Give it to it. We got to get bigger glasses on him. We're going to get bigger glasses on him. We did it last minute today.
I like it.
And you know what? I got to say one more thing too. You know,
please.
My uncle and people and my mom, they all watch this podcast. And like an idiot, I was bitching about my uncle coming over the other day with his friend, you remember? And he watched the podcast and he's upset at me. So I do want to apologize, Uncle Phil. I love you to death. Hopefully
what did you say again?
I didn't really complain about him. I was just kind of saying how I was tired and his buddy Ryan came over. Now, Uncle Phil's welcome here 24 hours a day. He's great with my kids. He's done everything he could throughout my martial arts journey. So Uncle Phil, you can come over anytime. You can come over this weekend. We don't even have fights.
See, that's the thing. Because
you gotta be careful what you talk about,
bro. The years I've done this podcast, you know, which goes all the way back to the Lewis days. I think it was 2014, maybe something like that.
Damn. So you've been a long time going.
We've done this a long time. Yeah, back in the early days, we never did video because I was paranoid about my eye. Because I didn't have the eyepiece and I didn't want, so it was audio only, even on YouTube and stuff. And Lewis, Lewis is a funny guy. So we used to get pretty wild. Do you know what I mean? And some of the shit that gets said. And then you forget, for example, that my in-laws listen to the podcast.
Yes.
My dad listens to the podcast. Certain people, the amount of people that stop me in the street and go, love the podcast. And then I stop. They get extra attention from me. If people say, oh yeah, what's up, Bisping? I'm like, how you doing, mate? Thank you very much. If they say, love the podcast, I'll stop in my tracks. I'm like, oh yeah, you're a real fan. Come here, buddy. Let's shoot the shit.
If you're stopping and listening to a podcast, especially like we do, we're doing a legit. It's not like 10 minutes long. Like if you're listening to us, you're dialed in because we're talking about a lot of stuff. And I hear a lot of people saying the same thing recently as people are, and the same thing. I'll always, and I always say, send in a damn question. Let's get some more.
Where did they send the question, Paul?
bympod@gmail.com.
Please send them in. Right, so a big story. We touched on this a little bit. We all had our take. We all thought that Alex Pereira wasn't hacked and all the rest of it. But the plot thickens because it turns out now, in fact, Harrington, give us the backstory. It is point number, whatever it is, you wrote it in the notes. But Alex Pereira, apparently, Harrington, if you're there, was offered fights against Magomed Ankalaev, turned it down for International Fight Week, correct?
Yeah, so Ankalaev was the one who was like frustrated. He said that that Poatan turned him down, says he doesn't want to fight him anymore, and the fake samurai won't fight him because he needs to learn more because he's so dumb. It was something along those lines. But Yuri Prochazka did say that he turned down a fight at International Fight Week because he has exams coming up at university next month, so he couldn't get into a training camp around that.
What have we got here? Oh, there's Big Ank. Alex Pereira don't want the Ank anymore. Leave him alone because I'm not a bully. Fate Ninja said he had to go back to school because he cannot read. Give me some fish. So obviously that was the catalyst for the tweet from Pereira. I didn't like that, if I'm honest. It's not how I like to see a quote-unquote real fighter talk, but it is what it is. You spit your dummy out, you say something you regret or whatever. You tweet. You forget on Twitter, man. It's there for life. It's there.
Somebody's got it. It never left. It never left. You deleted it, but it didn't get deleted from the internet, man. That's what's. There's always a tracker for that stuff. Somebody took a
fair play. I don't blame Yuri Prochazka, and I don't blame Pereira, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't short notice. This was a couple of weeks ago now. 317's about 5 weeks away, so it still would have been, essentially a full camp. But regardless, Prochazka, he just lost. He's been lost to Pereira twice. If he was to get another title fight, getting a third title shot, is that 3 or 4? Because he's been the champ. If he loses that one again, he ain't going to get another one. So I don't blame him. Certainly Ankalaev, being gigantic, the size that he is, and with the style that he has, I don't blame him necessarily for that.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, and if Yuri's trying to do something and he doesn't want to jump right back in there like that, yeah. And even for Pereira, I don't think he should have tweeted or said anything like that. But he's done a lot. You can understand where he's coming from, right? He took a lot of fights. He saved a lot of pay-per-views. He jumped in there. He fought the main events of some big fights over and over and over again. 4 times in a year or something like that?
Yep.
If he wants to take a little time and chill out coming off a loss and not jump right back in there, I don't blame him either, but I do understand that the UFC's got to move on with something, and he might get overlooked, or that's just the way it is.
It's crazy how quickly MMA fan bases turn, though, because Pereira was the belle of the ball, and then I saw a video again on Twitter the other day or yesterday, and Pereira was out in Thailand, I think, helping Jon Jones for this reality show. This is according to the tweet, so this could all be bullshit. And Pereira's outside an elevator, and he's doing that dance. You know what the Tate brothers do as well, doing the thing. He's doing that. And then the elevator opens, and his coach walks out, and he starts dancing, and I'm just looking at it for a minute, as you do. I'm sitting at the airport board, clicking the responses, and all the responses are negative. They're all talking shit. Your aura's gone and yada. I can't believe I ever liked this guy. It's like, guys, relax, man. Jesus Christ. He loses one fight and everyone just turns.
And his aura is gone. His aura is gone. He's just always been himself. I mean, he's not trying to have an aura. You guys talked about his aura, and now you're already taking it away from him. It's amazing how fickle the fan base can be. You know how it is. They just love to sit behind that keyboard, baby.
They're our fans as well, Paul. So please don't insult them.
We're of course not talking about our fans. We're talking about everyone else's fans.
Well, I used to have this with Luis J. Gomez. I used to say, don't call them fans, okay? Supporters. Not them. He would always talk about his fans as a comedian. And I would never say that. I don't say fans. Oh, my fans. Because I'd feel like a dickhead. I will never use the sentence where I talk about my fans. I can talk about the fans of the sport, but I would never say my fans.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is that a sentence you would use?
I wouldn't say my fans. No, I would say the fans still, because even fans of me they're fans of the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess
they're only fans.
They're only fans.
They're only fans. All right, this episode is sponsored by Hims. And if you are getting follically challenged, if you are losing a little bit of hair up top, if people are starting to take the piss and say, hey, you're going a little bit bald, well, guess what? You don't have to go to Turkey. You don't have to get hair transplants. You've just got to try out Hims, because guess what? You can start seeing thicker, fuller hair, regrowth. You can start seeing all of that stuff in just 3 to 6 months. Men, if you're starting to notice your hair thinning when you look in the mirror, you are not alone. Life just gets busier and busier, and it can feel like there's not enough time in the day to do something about it. So try Hims Hair Loss Solutions. You can avoid jumping through a bunch of frustrating hoops and get access to treatment without even leaving your home. Hims provides you with a convenient access to a range of hair loss treatments that actually work, all from the comfort of your couch. The process is simple and 100% online, so there's no uncomfortable doctor visits. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair, as I said, in as little as 3 to 6 months. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. And Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers that can help you get your confidence back with visibly thicker and fuller hair. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/believe. That is HMIS. Hims.com/believe for your personalized hair loss treatment options. Hims.com/believe. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. So, and as we know, the main event's Ilia versus Charles Du Bronx Olivera. Mm-hmm. Who wins that fight, Paul? And we're not asking for we're not going to hold you to this, but just off the top of your head, who would you say wins that fight?
Man, I got to say, I think Topuria wins that fight. I just think he can grapple enough to keep that on the feet. And I just seeing what he's done to Max, seeing what he's done to Volkanovski and others. I think he's got, even at 55, I think he's got enough pop to do some real damage. And Charles gets hit.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably going to be one of the harder hitters that he's gotten hit with recently.
I saw Kenny Florian, the great, legendary Kenny Florian, of course, talking about this fight recently. And he had an analogy that I thought was genius, right? He was talking about this fight, and then he likened it to the way that they both dress. They said, Charles Oliveira, anytime he dresses, he's going to have some loud suit on. It's going to be bright red or orange or yellow and stuff. It's flashy, it's loud, it's in your face. Whereas Topuria, he dresses nice. He'll have a suit on, but it'll be much more It's smooth, it's refined, it's understated. He's got the rolls, you know what I mean? He's giving you that little look. He looks like he's got a bit of mascara on. He's going to give you a kiss. But he's understated, you know what I'm saying? And he said, and it's kind of like their fighting styles. They said, well, Charles Oliveira comes forward, he's loud, he's in your face, he'll snap up some mind-blowing submission, whereas Topuria sticks to the fundamentals and the basics, and he's not as flashy, and he doesn't take risks, and he's very, very calculated, but uses the fundamentals and the basics to an extremely high level. And I just thought that was a really good comparison, because Oliveira does get caught. Topuria doesn't really make mistakes. He does have beautiful footwork. He does close the distance well, and the power, as we know, is there. So I agree. I think Topuria probably takes that one, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. And who knows with Charles? There's always that variable with Oliveira, that he's just going to do some crazy shit. And he also has power, and he's crazy flying knees. And then if it hits the mat for any second, he's always got a chance to pull off a submission.
Now, of course, that is UFC 317. This is why I have the Segway trophy. Before 17 is 316, okay? And on 316, we had Chito Vera taking on Mario Bautista. I spoke to Jason Perillo last week because I started hearing some rumors. So I called Perillo. I said, is this true about Chito Vera? Sadly, it is true. He's broken a rib. He's broken a rib. They tried... like taking it easy for a little bit. Then they did a hard spar. He took one kick and was down on his knees, and then Rockhold was there. Rockhold spazzed out in the gym, started going, what the f***, he shouldn't be sparring. And he's like, well, we had to test it out. So anyway.
You got to see if he can fight. Yeah.
As we know, steps in Patchy Mix. He's replacing Chito Vera. What do you know about Patchy Mix? I can't pretend I'm an expert. Boys, jump on if you want.
I mean, the dude is pretty phenomenal in all grappling departments, and he's proven to have knockout capabilities as well. I mean, I think it was, maybe you guys can confirm, a guy that I'm pretty familiar with, Rafian Stotts. I think he caught him with a really nasty knee in either PFL, Bellator, I think, maybe PFL. Which one was he fighting for?
Bellator.
Was it Bellator?
PFL. Maybe it was
both. Yeah, I can't remember which organization it was in, but dude, he's a finisher, man, and he's got a crazy record. He's got a ton of experience. I'm pretty sure he's mainly training at Extreme Couture as well, and just tons of guys around him, been helping guys fight at the highest level for a long time as well. I'm excited about it, and I've gotten to meet him and hang out with him a little bit, and he's a super cool dude.
So this leads me into a little segment that I want to talk about. What are some of the fighters that have come over to the UFC with a bit of fanfare, with a bit of hype and excitement from the fans? Patchy Mix obviously is one of them. People have spoken about him for a long time. I'm very excited to see him in the UFC and see how he does. But who were some other ones over the years? Obviously, there's people like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was highly anticipated. My old mate, Luke Rockhold, he was the Strikeforce champion. He came over to the UFC, did well, became the champ. Who were some other ones? And we'll throw it to the panel. Rampage
was one, obviously from Pride, came and won the belt, and he was a huge addition. Really anticipated him coming over. I remember back in the day, and I mean, I guess you really can you count like Vanderlei Silva as one too, because he fought in the UFC, then he was in like Pride and stuff, and then he was back in the UFC, but much later in his career.
Yeah, well, when all the Pride guys came over, I kind of throw them all into one umbrella. You know what I'm saying? Because UFC bought Pride, absorbed all of their contracts. Of course, Rampage is a great example.
Chandler. Chandler's another one.
You want to talk about somebody who was a real disappointment but a lot of hype is Ben Askren.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go with another name, Hector Lombard.
Oh, Hector Lombard.
Yeah, he was Bellator.
Yeah, he was Bellator. He had a lot of hype coming into the UFC.
I thought
there was a heavyweight that we have too that was a Bellator guy.
I thought Brian was going to say CM Punk.
Volkov,
another one
from
But I do think that CM Punk didn't have a lot of hype behind him. I don't think anybody really thought that he was going to come in and be a world beater.
Oh, he had hype though, but yeah, you're right. Not in that.
People were excited that he was going to fight, but it wasn't like Brock Lesnar. Like, I want to see what that animal can do. You know?
Yeah.
Michael Venom Page.
That was solid.
MVP. Yeah.
How about when I was going to say when World Series of Fighting transferred over to PFL, 3 guys made the jump: Eddie Alvarez, David Branch.
Oh, Eddie. Yeah, Eddie.
Justin Gagey.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best ones that we got, right? That was probably one of the best deals that pulling him over from, what was it, World Series of Fighting back then, right? World Series of
Fighting, right before it became PFL.
Now, I am cheating because I put a tweet out earlier and I've got my Twitter up on the screen. I mean, I could go on all day, guys. I mean,
but that's funny because Gaethje's been here so long. I forgot that he
was a hype prospect.
Hioki, Will Brooks, Bibiano Fernandez.
Will Brooks was a bit of a letdown.
Was it Mads Milkinson? No.
Well, who's the Asian kid that just came over for the belt?
Oh.
I forget his name.
Tatsuya,
the guy from Ryzen, right?
I remember because at the weekend I should be flying up to Calgary to do this movie. And it was when the UFC was last in Calgary, I do believe, that Hector Lombard made his debut. And I forget who we fought, but it was a really boring fight. And it didn't really pan out. And I knew we had some crazy contract, right? And I was in the VIP section. I wasn't commentating or anything like that. I was there as the guest fighter. Was it Jay Shields?
No, it was Tim Boach. Split decision.
Oh, Tim Boach. There you go. Tim Boach beat him, right?
Yeah, split decision.
And I didn't like Hector Lombard because I met him in the elevator in Calgary and I went to shake his hand and he did that whole squeeze my hand as hard as he can and then like eyeballed me like that. And that's just how he is. That's like kind of his whole thing, you know. And I was like, all right, buddy, relax. What are you doing? I've never met you.
So I was cameras.
Yeah. So I was rooting for him to lose, and he did lose. He got beat, and I jumped up, and I went up to Dana, and I was like, "Oh, fucking hell! So this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to come in that gets this fat contract. Fucking hell, that didn't work out." Dana gave me the dirtiest look. Do you know what I mean? He's like, "Yeah, we just paid him $500,000. You prick. Shut up. Don't look so happy about it."
He's like.
Hector Lombard. Who else have we got? Rampage, of course. Nick Diaz. But that doesn't count because he started off in the UFC.
And then went to Strikeforce?
Yeah.
Or was he in Strikeforce?
No, he was in the UFC first. He was fighting. Remember he knocked out Tiki. No, I'm thinking of Robbie Lawler. But Nick Diaz was in the UFC first. Then he went to Strikeforce. Then he came back to the UFC. I believe. Today's episode is sponsored by Shopify. Now, when I started this podcast, it seemed like I had to figure it all out on my own. Script, setup, filming schedule, logos. It was super overwhelming and every day seemed to introduce new decisions that needed an answer. When you're starting off with something new, it seems like your to-do list keeps growing every single day with new tasks, and that list can easily begin to overrun your life. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. And for millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And 10% of all e-commerce is in the United States, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that that writes product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out there like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. Basically, if you're trying to start a business, if you've just started one, if you're thinking about doing one, what are you doing? You got to do it with Shopify. Turn your business idea into a big business and do that with Shopify on your side. Check this out. Sign up for $1 per month, a trial period, and start selling today at shopify.com/believe. Go to shopify.com/believe. Shopify.com/believe.
Thanks.
Where's your friend? Where's Jared Gordon? We're filling time here, buddy.
Yeah.
We're filling time. I'm joking. We don't have to panic. Should we do a non-MMA while we wait for him, Harrington? What have you got for us today?
You know muted. What? Jared Gordon's here. It's fine.
Oh, hey. It's okay. Because he's muted anyway, so he doesn't get the benefit of... Jared, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Mike? How are you?
What's going on with your face?
Well,
a little cut.
It's just 5 stitches, and they glued this one, so nothing too bad. I got on my ears also, kind of black and blue, but
still looking pretty, Jared. Don't you worry about it, buddy.
My head looks huge on this thing.
It's because it is huge, bro.
It's a little swollen, but your head should be
that's natural.
It should be a bit bigger after that on Saturday night, Jared, because I'm telling you, man, that right hook against Thiago Moises, a very dangerous, very technical, experienced opponent. Congrats, man. Phenomenal stuff.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, I needed that for my own sanity, but it's not like I haven't been performing like at that level. It's just finally being able to put a stamp on it like that first round after everything that's gone on is just very satisfying. It was also, a point in my contract where it helped me a lot. So, it was this fight, Nasrat and Mark Madsen. So it's pretty good. Last 3 fights for, 4-fight contract. So
2 knockouts.
It should help.
2 knockouts in there. And then a close fight that, a lot of people thought you won, which again, you kind of talked about on the microphone with Michael in the post-fight interview, just how frustrating it is to kind of feel like you win those fights. And damn, I know how that goes, right? Being in those tight fights and it just doesn't go your way. And then your record is showing stuff that maybe you don't feel it deserves. So just talk about that, how frustrating it's been and how many months since that fight with Madsen with Hackbrass?
That's right. It was June. So almost a year.
Yeah. And then the fight getting canceled. I mean, what was it like for you to kind of just try to stay focused and not get, pissed off? I mean, I've talked to you a little bit about it.
So they gave me Cowley Fernandez, who had visa issues for my the fight in February that got canceled. They signed this new guy on Monday of fight week. I said, of course, I'll fight him. Obviously, I'm ready to go. And obviously, that's big advantage for me. But Cowley Fernandez and this guy, no one knows. So there's no value in those names, really. Guy pulls out morning of weigh-ins. Thank you, UFC. They did pay me my show money. So it was kind of like, I was like, all right, best case scenario, almost in a sense, as far as fight cancellations go. If it was earlier in the week, I might not have got paid, like if it was on Monday or Tuesday, they might have been like, oh, wait 3 weeks and we'll fight you in 2-3 weeks from now. Fight gets canceled. A few months rolls by and I get Thiago Moises, which I think everyone else knows that it holds way more value. Name like that. It's fought in main events, fought Islam Makhachev 4 rounds, beat Bobby Green, beat Michael Johnson, has 14 or 15 UFC fights under his belt, veteran of the game, 30 years old. He's young still, young kid, grew up fighting in UFC. So for me to get a win like that over a high-level grappler from a really great team in ATT who really my last loss was to Grant Dawson, which was ATT guy. They were like close training partners, Thiago and Grant. So it almost felt like I got some get back.
Yeah.
ATT. Yeah. And the name, I think, is just probably the best name on my resume at this point, I would imagine.
So you were saying, in many ways, I forget the number, it should be a 5 or 6 fight unbeaten streak in your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of those, of course, Paddy Pimblett, really, really close fight. The general consensus, the public kind of felt that you won that one. We all know the story. But in some ways, has that aged well for you? Because obviously Paddy just beat the shit out of Michael Chandler. And now he's like, Ilia is talking about him. He's calling out Justin Gaethje. Do you look at that and say, hey, listen, world, this is what I'm capable of?
Yeah, of course. And, it's funny, though, because it's been 3 years since I fought Paddy.
Jesus Christ.
It's been basically, in December, it will be 3 years. So 2.5 years, which is a long time. So people now are like, oh, that was 3 years ago. He's so much better. He would kill Jared now. That's like the sentiment that I see. But then there are still a lot of people who are like, Jared beat Paddy. And you know what? It has aged well for me. Obviously, he's gone on a tear since then. Granted, I think they've matched him very well. Chandler is my teammate. And, he's a good fighter, obviously, Chandler. Very explosive, athletic.
But there's a but in there.
2-5 in UFC, man, or whatever he is. He beat Dan Hooker in what was it, the first 2 minutes? That could happen to anyone. I think if Dan and Mike fought now, it would be a different story. Tony Ferguson knockout. He got dropped in the first round. And I'm not trying. Mike's my friend. So
yes.
Shit about him right now, but
you're doing a good job though.
It's good. Keep it going.
But man, I watching him train for the fight. I helped him. I was trying to give him pointers. Like he just wasn't, from my point of view, doing what he had to do to win that fight. So going into it, I knew Paddy was going to win. But for whatever reason, Chandler still ranked in the top, whatever it was, and now Paddy is 6, which is awesome. I don't want to give him too much flowers, but I really like Paddy, man. How do you not like the fucking guy?
Yeah. No, he's a fun guy. He's a fun guy.
He's likable. He's winning. So
he brings entertainment as well. You can't doubt
he's number
that.
8. He's number 8 now.
I mean,
I want to know. When did this little budding romance of you two start? Because I remember Fight Island. You were fighting, Paul was commentating. He jumped off the commentary to win and corner you in your fight. Then he came back in the suit and carried on commentating and stuff. Give the believers, that's the name of the regular viewers of our show, give the believers some funny behind the scenes stories that that we might like, Paul. Come on, don't hold back, fellas.
I'll let Jared go first. Me and Jarrett met obviously through training in the same circles. Obviously, I trained at Daniel Gracie's. He was at Renzo Gracie's in New York. We would all cross train. That's kind of how it all started. We were fighting for Cage Fury around the same time as well. And we kind of just hit it off. Jarrett's a pretty funny dude, and we would beat the shit out of each other and have good sparring rounds. And then where it gets really funny for a lot of our situations is we started going out to ranch together with Cowboy too. And what was it? Was it the first time I ever brought you out there? The Stitches, dude? Was that the first time I ever took you out there?
First time, yeah.
Yeah. So first time, Jared flies all the way out to New Mexico to help me train. And the first day, he's like taking me down. He's beating me up, and he goes for this takedown, and I throw up a head kick, and it hits him right across the bridge of the nose. Breaks the nose and splits
17 stitches
across his face. He still gets the takedown.
First sparring day of the
first day. First day.
What
he's
a
gonna
day.
Be there for a while.
First sparring round of the first training day of the whole trip. First minute, Paul breaks my nose, 17 stitches. It was spraying that.
Yes, literally spraying squirting out of his nose. Yeah.
Good time,
dude.
Then there's the next one was I was shooting heroin on the ranch.
Okay. Do you mind if we talk about that? I mean, you're pretty open about all, and that's what's so great. And I was telling Mike before you were going to come on today that it's like Jared's got stories for days when it comes to this stuff. And obviously we know it all has worked out, and he's such a you're at the forefront of all of this, right? And really trying to help promote people to get better and pushing people for mental health and addiction and stuff like that. But anyway, it's because you had such an insane past.
I just want to say, when I laughed there, you're a very inspirational guy, and you opening up about this stuff, Jared, I think it does a lot of good for people, because obviously you were there, you were rock bottom, and now look at you, man. You know, it's incredible what you've achieved. With that said, give us some of the debauchery.
Okay, so I bring Jared out again to the ranch, and maybe this was this was after that, right? I don't remember. Anyway, it was years ago. It doesn't matter. But I bring him out, and I'm getting ready for Jim Miller, I think. And this is a fight where, you know, like Jared's a kind of a great look for that. He's shorter, he's stockier, he's strong, he can wrestle, he's got good jiu-jitsu, and he's got good kickboxing as well. He shows up, and I'm like, he seems really tired, like he's really out of it. He's looking irritable. And then we start going to sparring, and like we do a round or two. He's like, I'm going to sit out, and he won't spar me. I'm like, bro,
I brought you here.
You're out here so you can help me freaking spar. Long story short, the training's going shit. Jared's not into it at all. He's not even like fighting me. And normally we're trying to beat the shit out of each other. He seems off. I'm suspicious. Then we're at the ranch, and he's like, yo, like, I'm waiting for a package. Did the package come yet? My mom's sending me something. And we were all asking him what it was. And I forget what you were making shit up about what it was. Like a prescription or something like that. Anyway, it comes, he gets it. We don't hear from him. He's in the bathroom at one point, and chaos breaks out with like a bug or a rat or something in the ranch, and we're all freaking out. Jared comes running out of the bathroom to look at what's going on in the ranch. Forgets all his shit in the bathroom.
That had like all the needles and like the dope on the top,
a bloody towel, and
the back of the toilet seat. So I guess someone had went in the bathroom. I think it was Jonathan, maybe, or maybe it was
Jonathan or Jafari went in there.
So I'm like passed out now on the bed because I forgot all my dope in the bathroom, and I'm all doped out. So I'm on the bed, and so Jonathan comes in the room. He's like, "Hey man, we got to talk to you out there." I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, you know, like, oh, I'm coming out of like a stupor. And they have like all the needles and the dope, and I'm like, oh God.
Oh, yeah. I still remember the bag, Jared. It had like a Batman symbol or something.
Yeah. It was heroin. Yeah. You know, wax bags of heroin. Yeah.
So that's the package that he was waiting for. And then obviously
I had heroin into a Donald's house.
Yeah. And it turned into like a little mini clinic right there too, where we're like, we know that he's obviously going to go through crazy withdrawals and shit like that. I think Henry was like helping you, like distributing just like a little bit.
Like one of Cowboy's friends knew someone with Suboxone, which is like a drug that you take to come off of opiates. And I kicked it, man. I got clean that trip.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And then came to the fight. And you came to the that was for Ross Pearson, right? He came out for Ross Pearson. Yeah. So, and he came to the fight and everything. And I'll still remember, to kind of help make it up to me after I weighed in, he went to some bakery in Vegas and bought me a whole entire Tres Leches cake. Do you remember that?
And then you were cutting weight. As soon as you got done cutting weight, you were eating it.
I was just smashing the cake.
I mean, I've heard of people, you know, getting high on weed and going and doing jiu-jitsu. I can only imagine.
Trying to spar on heroin.
Obviously you're addicted, so you're not thinking clearly, but you get jacked up on heroin and then go and spar world-class fighters.
I was spar Paul, Cowboy.
That doesn't sound like a good time.
No.
Or maybe it was the best time.
For me, it did. For me, it sounded like a good time.
Yeah, you're like, this is a good idea. I'll hide it. Yeah. I'll hide my.
I got away with this.
Yeah, and they won't know that I'm on like one of the hardest drugs that you could take.
Have you had people reach out to you, Jared, though, going through similar situations and say, "Listen, thank you so much. Hearing you be so open and talk about this is really helping me."
Yeah, I mean, that's like how. So like as my story, long ago started slowly getting out, people started reaching out to me like for help. Like, how did you do it? Or like, a lot of guys, where I get a lot of calls from is guys in the UK, London, Liverpool.
Big problem out there.
Ireland, some kid from SBG just reached out to me. It was like, hey, John Kavanaugh told me to hit you up.
Wow.
Like I'm struggling with this, and this. And yeah, I get messages from people all over the world, all over Europe, especially Europe, mostly the UK.
No, for sure.
Major drug issue over there.
In my ignorance, I don't really think crack and meth, and again, I could be wrong here, but from my understanding, certainly when I lived there, crack and meth, I don't really think has the foothold that it does here. Right. But heroin is a big problem. Coke's massive. Yeah. Pretty much everyone I know does cocaine in the UK.
Yeah, a lot of people that I talk to there have alcohol, cocaine.
Yeah. Well, most guys go down the pub, they have 4 or 5 beers, and then they're calling someone to get a drop off or whatever. But they don't have like real issues. You know what I'm saying? They're just partying at the weekend and whatnot. Yeah. But the heroin's a bit of a different situation.
Yeah. I got a lot of people from Canada, obviously all over the States. Oh, but that's how it started. And then I was like, man, I need to how am I gonna I could give you only so much advice through Instagram, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Or we can get on the phone maybe, but I don't like handing my number out to strangers all the time. My wife was like, you got to stop giving your number to strangers. You're insane. You need a phone line, you know? And then that's how I started getting partnered with treatment centers that are, national centers in the country. And now I'm able to literally place people into treatment if they have the ability. They are for profit, so you need private insurance or be able to pay. Or they'll place you in the call center that they have in a facility that maybe is a state-run facility or something that Medicaid or, if you don't have a lot of money that you can afford, but they'll help place you. They're not just going to say oh, we can't take you. And
get out of here,
Heroin is – sorry, go on.
They can't take you, but the people that I send them to, they'll try to place them wherever they can or give them the best advice possible. So now I have the ability to help people.
Yeah, it's amazing, Jared. It is. In terms of the power of the addiction, is heroin the most addictive substance?
I would say opiates in general, but heroin, fentanyl now, and benzos like Xanax. So I'm talking as far as physical withdrawals. The worst drugs to get off of, hardest drugs to get off of are benzos, opiates, and alcohol. Alcohol is the number one. It's so if you're coming off of benzos or alcohol, it's considered a medical emergency because you can.
Yeah, of course you'll die.
You can die in alcohol or benzo withdrawal. Opiate withdrawal, you're never going to die. You could come off of heroin. You could have the worst heroin habit ever, and you're never going to die from opiate withdrawal. It's just going to be very, very miserable, the worst feeling ever. But coming off of benzos and alcohol is, from what I hear, I've never come off of benzos or alcohol like that, but I hear it's worse than heroin from people that I know that have had addictions to both. Yeah, it takes a long time to come off the benzos, weeks and weeks.
Oh.
So it has such a strong affinity to bind to your receptors that it takes forever for them to come off. Opiates, heroin is 8-hour half-life. So you take heroin in 8 hours, half of it's out of your body, and you're already dope sick because it's leaving your body. You need more. Benzos, they stick to the receptors for so long that it takes your brain forever for it to come back from that. And terrible.
And what kind of frequency are you talking about there, to where people are getting this kind of addiction to, say, let's say Xanax or whatever,
I would say you're taking, you're not just taking it as prescribed. So it's which leads to addiction as well, though. If you've been taking Xanax for 6 months as prescribed, you are addicted to Xanax. Even if you're taking it as the doctor tells you, you're not going to want to stop taking it. If a doctor prescribed me opiates for a month, take one every 4 hours, I would be addicted in 3 days again.
So I've had neck issues for so long. I'm going to be
what's wrong with me? Why do I feel sick? I just had a friend who had a knee surgery, and then he had to have another knee surgery shortly after the first surgery. So he was on opiates for a month. And then he ran out of the pills and he was really sick. And he was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why? I'm throwing up. I got cold. I can't sleep. And then he realized holy shit, I'm in withdrawal. I'm in withdrawal. I've
been having neck issues for a long time. So they prescribe some pretty heavy stuff. I do not take them as prescribed. But if I did, because I talk about this to my wife, I'm supposed to take 4 of these a day.
You would be addicted.
Which means first thing in the morning, take one. Then
popping like an oxy.
Mid-afternoon, evening. I sometimes, when I can't sleep, I'll take one at night because of the pain.
That's different, yeah. If you take one and then 4 or 5 days later you take another one, you're not going to get addicted. But if you take them every 4 hours for 3 days, I promise you, you're going to want to keep taking them.
This sounds like like an immature question. Obviously, you've seen the movie Trainspotting, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. You know the withdrawal scene on there. I mean, obviously that's dramatized and it's a movie and shit. But is it like that?
Yeah, bro. So this is how I can explain it to you. It's like having the worst flu. So you're throwing up, you're hot, cold sweats,
sweating like crazy, right?
You're pissing out of your ass, sweating like crazy. But you know how on the flu, like you could finally pass out for like 5, 6, 7 hours, and then you wake up sick again. There is no falling asleep in heroin withdrawal. You're tossing and turning. Oh, Paul, look at this.
All right, Paul, stay on the lane. We were just getting a crazy story from Jared Gordon. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, so you're just like, can't sleep. You're tossing and turning. You're shitting your brains out. You're throwing up. And you're also seriously depressed. And all you can think about is, man, I could just shoot a little heroin and all this will go away. And that feeling, so there's no sleep for weeks. That's like what people end up going back for, is because they can't sleep. Like if there was sleep involved, I would be like, all right, I can handle this. But they're like, you're up all night, you're up all day, and you're just waiting for the next minute so that eventually these feelings will go away. But it takes weeks, literally. So last time I kicked, it took like 3 weeks for me to like feel like better from the acute symptoms. And then there's pause, which is post-acute withdrawal symptoms, which for me lasted like 8 weeks. I couldn't sleep for like 8 weeks.
Jesus.
Like, eventually you start sleeping like an hour here, wake up, hour and a half, wake up, fall back asleep maybe, or wake up. It's the worst feeling ever. So it's very miserable.
What's going on, Paul? How are you, mate? Jared, as I'm sure you know, he's been very honest and open, talking about some of the struggles that he had with heroin back in the day. Coming from Scotland, I'm sure, you're familiar with I'm not saying you were a heroin addict or anything, but there's a problem in Scotland as well, right?
Yep, there was a huge problem. That's where like the Danny Boyle film comes from, the Trainspotting, in the Irving Welsh book. Yeah. Growing up, it was pretty prevalent in my local area. Yeah. Once it bites into families, it destroys them. It decimates them. It's nice hearing, nice hearing the story, but like actually hearing it from someone that's, because I'm looking for the outside in, and I can't fathom what's going on in their lives. And obviously hearing what Jared's got to say it's actually pretty interesting.
No, it really is. Obviously, Paul's jumped on Jared. Before we let you go, mate, and thank you for your time. Who do you want next? Come on, give us a name.
I was looking at Benoit Saint Denis. Terrible. Like, I think he's a horrible matchup for a lot of people.
He's a tough son of a bitch.
He's a savage bastard, man. But that's what I got. The kind of guys I want to fight. So, what's the difference? Yeah. And he's ranked. He's 13 now. So give me my number already. I should be ranked top 10 already. So.
And I said last question, but that was a lie. Jared, are you at home?
I'm at my father's house.
I was going to say, because you're living large, bro. Yeah, that's beautiful. There he is. Hey, how we doing?
Yeah, he owns like a hotel. Look at this place.
Yeah, I know, because I was like, Jesus Christ, Jared Gordon is cleaned up well.
Yeah, he didn't need that bonus.
I went from heroin to a millionaire.
Yeah, good for you, man. Oh, shit. All right, well, listen, congrats on the win at the weekend. You deserve it. You're an inspiration. Thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, call me later.
See you, Strudel. Yeah, I'll call you. I'll let you up.
Later.
Later, buddy.
See you later.
Paul, how are you, mate? People always say to me, they give me shit. Oh, you left the UK. But then you see that bastard's backyard.
I know.
It's like, that's why.
So I literally just get back at say about 8:30 this evening into Edinburgh, and then a 30-minute drive to just outside of Glasgow. It's dark, it's grey. There's a reason people want to move to America or move to somewhere nice and hot. The UK is not the place renowned for its weather. what we were renowned
No,
for. It's
but it has character. It has character. It has charm. It has cool architecture and stuff like that. But we're not bothered about that. We're not bothered about that. Paul.
Yep.
What? By the way, everyone, Paul Craig has just landed home in Scotland, as he said. I messaged him before. He's like, I've just landed. I was like, all right, forget it. He's like, no, I'll jump on. Talk us through it, mate. What went down at the weekend?
So I was feeling great. That weight cut back up at 205 was magic. Everything was in place. Everything felt right. And then we're literally coming to the last part of our warm-up. We've put on our MMA gloves. We're taking off our boxing gloves when we hit. We'd done some grappling, put on our MMA gloves. They'd done the filming where, you stand in front of the camera and you shadow box. They'd taped me up, and Campbell comes in, and I'm like, oh, that's very unusual. I don't know why he's coming in. He never comes in and wishes me the best of luck. And he comes in and says, listen, your opponent has pulled out due to a skin infection. And at that point, it's hard. If you've been in that predicament where it's like you're literally ready to walk out, I'm talking like 30 minutes.
No.
It's almost surreal. And you're frustrated, you want to kick stuff, you want to hit stuff, and everything you've worked for up until that point is kind of ripped away from you. And they're like, listen, we'll look after you. We're going to look to reschedule this fight. And the fight has been rescheduled, and it's going to be within the month of June. But it's not the same when you do a 12-week fight camp, and then you have to then come back home to do another 4-week fight camp, or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. It's no cool, but it's part of business, and I'm in the game of fighting, and I need to pull up my pants and get back out in that treadmill and bust some ass, hit back in the gym. But I was like, you know what it's like when you push your body too far and too long. This is the point where you start to pick up niggles. This is the point where you're going to have to be really, really careful with an extended fight camp.
So let me ask you though, Paul, if you can give a bit of clarity, because what was doing the rounds on social media that it was herpes, which is what they call a cold sore in the UK. Yeah. And I know, Paul knows, and you know, they don't come in and inspect your penis. So they're talking about what, he had a cold sore? Yep.
So we originally heard it was a skin. So when I was told it was on his neck and up to his ear. And I was standing behind him in the weigh-ins, so see the official weigh-ins. He was in front of me, and I seen nothing, because when your opponent's in front of you, you're absolutely analysing everything they're doing. I looked him up from head to toe, and he looked like he had nothing up with him. So then when they came in and told me it was a skin infection, I was like, that's bullshit. There's no way he had a skin infection. I would have seen it. And then the referee came in, and it was actually the referee that stopped the fight. It was the referee that had noticed he had a cold sore on his face. And for what I'm led to believe, it was a really bad cold sore. It was halfway up his face and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if he's just been using maybe he's shaved or something and it's made it worse. But for what they were talking about backstage, it was really bad on his face, his actual face. And the referee went and got a commission. The commission then came in and said, no, we can't let you fight for this. And that was the whole process. And I'm talking, we'd already done our referees meeting. We were ready. I'm telling you, I was dripping with sweat. And then it literally just ripped away from you, and you're like, what, for a skin infection? I'm like, I don't mind catching a skin infection. I don't mind a wee bit of herpes. Never hurt anybody.
Yeah, I think I've got one right now.
I get it. See if I'm run down, and it's a sign I've been run down. When I went and fought in Australia, I get it on my tip of my nose. It's just, but it's herpes. Sniffing dirty minge. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, you got the beard for it. You got the juice. I was going to say anytime, and it sounds gross when they call it herpes. In England, we call it cold sore. It's a much better term.
We do. The funny thing is we do here too. If it's right here, most guys, you have a cold sore. Guys aren't going to be even though it's the same strain, it's not like it's covering your. That's what we were worried about when it was termed like that. I was like,
it's funny.
How did you know that he was having an outbreak down there? What are you talking about? So we all figured it had to be that. But normally I've seen guys fight where they've had it, but I guess apparently his was so bad that they were not comfortable with him fighting. That's weird.
I was trying to remember. Did Ian Gary fight?
Ian Gary.
Remember he had an absolute winner on his face?
Yeah. I brought it up earlier. I was like, I've seen that before.
Yeah,
so I guess it's
fighters that go in with like there's the signs of staph infection on some fighters as well. So I have no idea why this was it's not a poor me they've taken my fight away from me, because it has been rescheduled with the same opponent and it's going to be really soon. Just need to get like the contract signed, but it's a silly thing to pull a fight for.
It really is. And I feel for you and I feel for Belal as well, because he'll be just as disappointed as you. It's one of those things, you drive your body into the ground, you're working your ass off, the immune system's run down, and you're more susceptible to stuff like this. And I guess it's just the different independent athletic commissions and the people on hand on that day. So you said it was the referee that made the call?
Yeah, the referee had seen his face. It was Og, isn't it? Og.
Herzog,
aye. It was him that seen it. He's an experienced referee. He knows his stuff, and he went and grassed to the commission, and the commission came in and were like, that's not happening.
I don't want to piggyback.
I know. Like he's like, this is Las Vegas. This is the Nevada State Commission. This is some of the best.
It's the herpes capital of the world.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The big man was just out at the strippers, sniffing that dance ball.
I mean, I can only imagine, Paul. I mean, we're all fighters here. And you know how it is, your backs. I don't need to tell you, it's for the people listening, you're warming up. You got your coach giving you the last minute instructions, the adrenaline's flowing, you're hitting the pads and all the rest of it. And then they come in and say that. Yeah. Once you were able to like process it all and finally accepted, it's done, it's over. I mean, what was going through your mind? What did you do? I mean, what did you do that evening?
We couldn't do anything because it's 4 weeks, or could be 4 weeks. It's like within that time frame. So they offered us the 31st, but the 31st in Vegas would have meant I would have to have stayed down in Vegas for another 2 weeks. Now that's a lot. Like for me, that's fine because it's my job. I'm a fighter, so I'm happy to stay in Vegas. But when you think about coaches who have gyms to run, you've got training partners who also have families and all this kind of stuff. So 2 weeks for me is fine. 2 weeks for them, we couldn't do it. So we said, listen, there's any chance we can move it? And my nutritionist is in the 7th of June, he's got the heavyweight title fight in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So my nutrition wouldn't be with me if it was the 7th. So there was all these kind of factors leading in where it was like, can we have this date? Can we have that? And the UFC sometimes can be a little bit hardbally where they're like, no, this is what we want. They kind of have their narrative of what they want you to do. So then we had this conversation, can we push it a little bit further along? Because the one that allows me to come home, see my family, have a little bit of reset. Because although I'm still light heavyweight, it's still a back-to-back weight cut in 4 weeks' notice. Because everyone I've cut, and then if they say, listen, it's 2 weeks, that shortens it again, because then it changes up the whole dynamics of what happens with your fight. So what do I do? They look at maintenance again. They look at maintenance lifts. They look at going back to lifting heavy. They look at what's the sort of time frame on my sprints. And there's a whole lot of things that go in within the 2 weeks. So I think pushing it to like a month works kind of better for us. It allows us to get home, see the family, get back on the diet, and then start to strip that fat back off, because the bounce back that I have, so I weighed in 93 kilograms on the Friday morning, and the bounce back by Saturday morning, I was 103. So that's an extra 10 kg I've put on.
Which is 22 pounds for the Americans.
Yeah, so it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's like there's carbs in my body, there's glycogen back in my muscles, there's water back in my body. So although it's 10 kg or 22 pounds, it's not a true reflection of your weight. So I need to put that back on safely again, and then do the whole process of the cut.
The good news is, though, Paul, the good news is, or not the good news, but one way of looking at it is that he's got to do the exact same thing. So whilst it's a pain in the ass, it's a ball ache, it's an inconvenience, he's going through exactly the same thing. Yeah.
And then if he's already ran down and getting cold sores because he's that ran down, because that's ultimately what it says. He says a hard fight camp, he's run down, and then it gets to fight week, and you're going to do the whole cut, all the media, everything that goes along with fight week, and just runs you down even more. So we're going to be sitting here in 4 weeks' time doing the exact same thing, saying, well, he's had another cold sore outbreak.
I can't see that happening.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Oh.
There's a thing called makeup. Like, get some makeup on that, cover that up.
Yeah, come prepared for that. And just in terms of, you talk about resting up, seeing the family, and kind of getting back on point. How do you approach sparring, training camp, if it is just, say, like a month left? Like you talked about, it's a dangerous situation where coming off of a 12-week camp already, doing the weight cut, rehydrating, being warmed up and primed mentally and physically for a fight. What's going to be the approach? How long do you think you'll actually have downtime so that when you get back into it, you got to kind of build yourself back up just a little bit?
Yeah, it's like a mini fight camp. That's the way I'm looking at it. I came home early because I wasn't meant to get home until tomorrow night. But because I need to get back to fight camp, I was like, right, I need to go out to Vegas for Sunday. And especially in a place like Vegas, if you're doing a fight camp and then you get to party at the end of it, Vegas is great. But if you do a fight camp, you don't get to fight and you don't get to party at the end of Vegas. Vegas is a shithole. So I was like, I need to get back to the UK. I need to get back to doing sparring. And it's going to be back to hard sparring, 4 weeks out. That's what it's going to be. Sparring, wrestling, hitting it hard. But as you're saying, it's the making sure we don't get an injury. Because it is, like, your body's we've already stripped everything out we can. And then rebuild it and then strip it all out again. So it just need to be very, very safe.
And I'll bet that. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, please.
I was just going to say that first spar. Are you kind of looking at that like almost? You kind of get a gauge of how you were going to feel. I know it's been a few days, but that first spar, are you going to get with somebody that you know you can push it a little bit? Because obviously you just geared up for a fight. You didn't get to have the fight. There's going to be a lot of frustration in there.
So, not that I got my frustration out, but the Sunday morning I went to 10th Planet Open Mat in Vegas. Great open mat, some very, very good jiu-jitsu guys there. And I got to roll, so I got to get a little bit of energy expenditure. Okay, cool. Because you put all these carbs in your body, you put all this energy back into it, and then to go and sit in a plane for 10 hours, it's not cool. So we went, we'll go and we'll train. And it was 10th Planet in Vegas, great mat, and had fun. And it's good testing your jiu-jitsu, because I know I'm a good jiu-jitsu practitioner, but there's always that doubt with what's out there in the jiu-jitsu world, because I'm not a jiu-jitsu fighter, I'm a mixed martial artist.
So I wanted to ask you about the carbs, because you say out of camp or in camp, Vegas is a shithole, but it is also the culinary capital of the world. The food out there is incredible. Yeah. There's no fight, but there's also no weigh-in anytime soon. And I know you didn't go out, you didn't party. God bless you. You are disciplined. You want this goddamn weight. Fair play.
I'd some beers. Yeah.
I'd have got on it. But tell me you had a good meal.
Weight cut starts the next day.
Yeah. But you had a good meal, Paul.
It was born. It was born. My nutritionist made me my dinner. But no.
I
know. I know. It was. But
that's the nutritionist.
That's what it calls for. So he was like. So my teammate Ross was out with me, and he bought us a bottle of whiskey, and we were going to nail a bottle of whiskey when we were in Vegas, because I've literally no whiskey for the start of the year, because I've been like, right, I need to be focused to get that extra weight, proper weight. So I'm like, I don't want to drink. So I've been dry for January. So he bought a nice bottle of Scottish whiskey, and we were going to sink it. And he's like, listen, I've got this bottle of whiskey. I was like, you're going to have to take it back, mate. Going to have to bring it back to America with you. So didn't get to drink the whiskey. My nutritionist made me a shitty meal, and it was shitty. It was like, it was vanilla, and then went to bed early and felt sorry for myself.
But why couldn't you? Listen, obviously you were talking about he's the nutritionist for the heavyweight fight. That's Usyk versus Dubois, right? So this guy's in demand. He knows his shit. But come on, bro. You couldn't have gone and got a nice, juicy filet mignon with some nice vegetables, throw it down with a little sticky toffee pudding afterwards for a little treat after the mental torture that you've just had.
No, we made the deal. We made the deal with the UFC, and that was it. But so here's the thing. I used to think he was I was like, well, he's a good cook. He's a good chef, right? When I was middleweight, as a light heavyweight, I'm like, you're substandard. As a middleweight, I would eat
anything tastes good.
But as a light heavyweight, I'm like, oh, this is really nice. That's what I like my steak, nice and dry.
Oh, God. You're a disciplined man, Paul, I got to say, because 4 weeks is a long time.
I know. I'm getting older. And these bounce backs, so you know what I'm saying, like, you can't do it as an older guy. You've got to maintain that discipline, because the last thing I want to do is have a wee weekend blowout or a day's blowout. Yeah. You've still got the travel, which takes out. I'm bagged up because of the 10 hours in the plane, just recycled there, so my nose is shot. I need to go to the gym tomorrow, and the last thing I want to do is add a hangover into that as well, or some shit food. 37, got to look after myself. I'm an older guy, so if I want to make my time in the UFC count, I've got to kind of go all in. I can do that when I'm finished.
No, absolutely, Paul. And that was always my approach as well. We're just having a laugh on a podcast and being a little bit silly. Mate, well, listen, I was devastated for you on the night. I can see the disappointment on your face. You're probably exhausted, probably jet lagged. It's 10:30 at night where you are. So we'll let you go, Paul. I just wanted to hear what happened. And it's a shame, but we'll be watching in 4 weeks, mate. Where's what's the location?
Where are the options? Yeah.
So the options were the New Jersey card, which was the 7th. So they offered us the Vegas Apex the 31st, the New Jersey card, Atlanta, and I think there's another Apex. So the only one we would have struggled with, because we said, listen, we can do the 31st. Right, it's a massive sacrifice and it's going to be shit. But if we that's not a favourite option. And there's the same for like the 7th in New York. I'd love to fight in New York. I think that'd be a cool place to fight. So it's looking to catch the latter two at the end of June. So that's what we're hoping for.
So Atlanta, end of June.
Yep, I think it's Atlanta, and then it's back to Vegas, I'm sure.
Yeah, right, I know I'm working the Atlanta card. That is June 14th something.
14th, yeah.
14th, yeah, June 14th. Yeah.
Yep, so that's one of the options.
They didn't offer you Azerbaijan?
Well, I think that's the week after, isn't it? Azerbaijan,
yeah, that's
and then the week after that's Khalil. That's Khalil and Jamal Hill, isn't it? And then the week after that's the Vegas one. So they're the ones they offer me. No Azerbaijan, although I would take Azerbaijan.
Yeah, and you know, when you were saying Atlanta or Newark, that's a much shorter flight. Newark from Scotland,
that's easy.
5-6 hours instead of 10 or 11, you know. All right, Paul, listen, we'll let you get some rest, mate. Thanks for giving us the time here today. Sorry about that one more time, but as always, a pleasure talking to you, mate. Chin up. You got to do what you got to do.
Yes, boys. Listen, Paul. As I said to you when I spoke to you the other day, the podcast is brilliant. The dynamics of the two are superb, man. I love it. I genuinely listen to the podcast every week. So
give Paul a Scottish phrase. Paul, because Paul can't do a Scottish accent, and you probably think that he can't either.
Was that an Irish one?
He won't do it.
Was that a few weeks ago you were trying to do? It was during St. Patrick's Day, you were trying to do an Irish one?
Yeah.
Paul.
And it sounded Scottish. It did sound a bit Scottish. My favourite one is like, you got your ball bag. Shut it, your ball bag.
No, I'm not doing it.
No, shut it, your fucking ball bag.
Shut it, your fucking ball bag.
That's good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Also, see the painting that you get done. Is that the one that's behind you?
Show it. No, get rid of me, Brian. Show Paul.
There he is.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. Love it.
Shit. Hey, Paul, you're a good sport. You're a class act. Love watching you in the cage. Love talking to you.
Yeah.
All the best. Yeah. And
we'll talk to you soon, guys.
Yeah, selfishly, I hope it's either Azerbaijan or Atlanta, Paul, because I'd love to call the fight when it gets rebooked. So,
and we always have a good party when we together, Paul.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and especially after this one, I'd love to be wherever Paul Craig is going to be after you finally get to fight. So
let's do it. All right, guys, have a nice evening.
Take it easy, buddy.
Cheers, dude.
See you, Paul. I'll tell you what,
man.
Yeah, he is. He's awesome, man. But the discipline, right?
I know, bro. I would have let myself have the weekend and then got back to it when I got home.
People might sit here and say to me, "Oh, yeah, well, Bisping, you're just a drunk." I'm not a drunk. And when I was fighting, I never drank through fight camps. In that situation, I would have said, "You know what? I'm having a few drinks tonight. I'm letting off a bit of steam. I'm depressed. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. All these different emotions. I'm going to go to a nice steakhouse. I'm going to stuff my face, and I'm going to have a few whiskeys, which, by the way, isn't going to affect my weight. Will it be a bit rough tomorrow?" But Paul, being the professional that he is, that is dedication, discipline, all the D's,
because I'm the same as you. I would have done the same thing. I would have been there with the team. I'd have said, all right, listen, it didn't happen tonight. We've got potentially 4 weeks left. Now, if it was the one on the 31st, I might have really taken it easy, but I still would have had a good meal and I would have had maybe a couple beers. But if I had 4 more weeks, yeah, I probably would have, went after it for one or two nights and then gotten back to it.
Because this would have been me with my the Mr. Killjoy over there, the nutritionist. Here's what I would have said. And argue with my logic. I said, all right, I was ready yesterday, right? And I said, I was ready yesterday. We now have 4 more weeks.
Yeah.
So why can't I have one cheat day to just get over the misery, this terrible situation in which I find myself? I need to process my emotions. I will be drinking tonight. I will be having a good meal. I won't be having your dry, shitty steak, and I will be having a dessert. And because it's airport rules, I'll be having a beer at the airport. So until we get back to Bonnie, Scotland, stay off my back.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% with you on that one, dude. I'd have been like, you can go kiss my ass. I am having a dessert at least. At least, even if you're like, please don't drink. I'd have been like, oh, I might have been able to negotiate that. But for sure, I'm having a big ass meal and I'm eating candy and dessert. And you know what? Your body might even feel okay with it because then you're replenished as if you were just fought. Like, that's what you were going to do anyway. I mean, maybe you don't polish off a bottle of whiskey, but
no. You have a couple. Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
Something similar happened to me where I fought. When I got into the UFC, I had 6 weeks. I had just fought and defended my CFFC belt. 2 or 3 days later, that Monday or Tuesday after the fight, I was boozing hard with my whole friends, like family, my brothers. And then my manager came in, Rob Haydak, and he's like, hey, and everybody was there. I was wondering why everybody showed up to the bar with me. I'm like, this is great. Everybody's out. We're still celebrating. I had gotten the contract for the UFC debut, and it was in like 5 or 6 weeks. So I was like, I'm taking this week. I just fought. I won. I did the weight cut. I was like, I'm going to party for a few days with my girlfriend, my brother, and do my thing. And then I'm going to go right back into camp. And that's what I did.
And who did you beat in your UFC debut?
This guy, Jason Sago from Canada.
Oh, Jason Sago got his ass kicked off a half hungover Paul Felder.
Damn right.
Why have you got to do him dirty like that, Paul?
Well, you got to beat guys in their hometown, man. That's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do. Harrington, Brian, jump on. We've been going for about 90 minutes, but what else have we got to get? We haven't even done a non-MMA story, but forget it. We don't need it. We're flying. We're cooking with gas. Is there any big stories, though, in the MMA world that we need to get to?
I really liked this one. Sean Strickland says that after Belal talked all that mess about moving up to 185, it's finally time, and he's the guy to welcome him to the middleweight division.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, I don't want to talk shit, but all right. There's two sides. Belal has talked a lot of shit, said he would go up to 185. And this and that and all the rest of it, loses his belt. So I guess I don't blame Sean, but realistically, Sean just losing a title fight, is that the fight you want next? Is that the guy you're going to call out? Especially after you're beating up these streamers in the gym. One could start painting a narrative here if you wanted to. I'm not saying I'm doing that, but it's like, really?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, look, I mean, I got nothing against Sean, but if I'm Belal, you're both coming off losses for the belt. I mean, Belal's still in the mix at welterweight. He wants to go and try to get a fight that's going to get him back into that title picture, coming off one loss, a good fight with Jack. And for Sean, I know Izzy's out there trying to get a fight with him. I know other people are calling for fights with him that are very active and established middleweight. So as fun as I think that would be, I would think that would mean that it's the end of your career if those types of fights are happening. And I think that's what we're kind of alluding to there. It's like, if it is, then sure, that's the fight to call for. But if you still think you got some in the tank, come on now.
Yeah. If you think you got some in the tank, you won't calling out welterweights that just lost the belt. Herringbone?
Well, speaking of bigger guys calling out smaller guys, Jon Jones met a new friend on his trip overseas.
Oh, God, yes.
Let's have a look.
Во-первых, в мире существует два человека, которые не завидуют друг другу. Это отец и сын. Мать и дочка.
Music.
Дочка может подумать, а вдруг мать была красивее. Или наоборот, мать может подумать, а вдруг дочка красивее, чем она. Есть какой-то ревность. У отца и сына такого нет.
I mean, he's a tiny little person. I mean, look at Joe.
Dude, you're a man. He's a man.
He's a big man.
And I'm saying, Hasbulla is a man. Yeah,
it's a man.
Yeah, how old is
Hasbulla? Hasbulla. I don't know. Hasbulla. However you want to say it.
He is a 22-year-old man.
Yeah.
He's a man. He's like, bro, really? I get it. I'm small. You have to throw me around like a baby. Do you have to look at me like that? I mean, I get it. It's his whole thing, right? That's how he's like kind of made it.
When Tyson did it, Tyson, I think, literally thought that he was a child. And
he
picked
did.
him up like a child. Yeah, guys, am I right? Didn't Tyson actually think he
Tyson
was
nuzzled his stomach, picked him up, and like he was a baby.
I know. I think I saw that clip on Twitter. Yeah, but as I said, I mean, I'm sure he's making a lot of money out of leaning into this thing. Leaning into being the little guy. I mean, listen, he shows up everywhere. Every Abu Dhabi card, he's at the guest of honor. He's been at the big pay-per-views. He's there. He's in the ring. He's in the corner with Khabib.
I've got a picture with Hasbulla.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Never met the guy. I'm sorry. He wasn't
very nice to me, though. So maybe I should have just picked him up like a baby.
Were you bullied by Hasbulla?
He was kind of smug, as if I'm Hasbulla and you're only Paul Felder.
Right. Are you saying that he had little man syndrome?
I'm saying there's beef.
Because hold on. No.
There's not any beef, you're saying?
No. You got beef with Hasbulla? Call him out.
No, not really. Yeah, with all the influencer boxing stuff going on, hey, that's a fight for whatever that paycheck is. I'll take. I'll take on 10 Hasbullas if I have to.
Well, yeah. Never mind 100 men versus a gorilla. How many Hasbullas to take down Paul Felder? You could have Hasbulla and
at least.
Who's the other one? There's another one. I know there's lots of small people, but there's another famous Russian dude. They don't like each other. They're always you got to keep them away from each other.
Abu Rozik.
Yeah.
Who?
Abu Rozik.
Abu Rozik and Hasbulla versus Paul Felder.
Let's go.
200 grand. Right, listen, if you got a question, send it in to bympod@gmail.com. You know the drill by now. Brian, what do we have today? Big shout out to Jared Gordon. Thank you to Paul Craig for shedding some light on what happened at the weekend. Shitty situation, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Brian, what we got, bud?
We got a question here from Noah from Ohio.
Hey, Bisping. Hey, Felder. Noah from Ohio here. You guys are absolute legends and now run the best MMA podcast. I had a question about fighters that they lose their chin as they get older. From what I understand, this happens through brain damage, but also jaw strength, neck stability, hydration. My question is, do fighters have a limited amount of weight cuts to when they lose their chin? And do they do anything to help strengthen it, like chew mastic gum for their jaw, work on neck stability drills, or even take mushrooms like reishi or shiitake, or maybe even the magic kind to help regrow brain tissue? Thanks.
So, thank you for the question. I'll answer this one first. I can see your face is lit up like a bloody Christmas tree. So there's two trains of thoughts, and there's two types of people in this world, okay? There's people like Paul Felder that might go off and do the concussion protocol and take all the magic mushrooms and do this and do that and all the rest of it. And then there's good old-fashioned old school like me, right? I get knocked out, I suck it up. No, I ain't doing a jaws exerciser. I ain't doing all this shit, right? I put it down to the fact that I got clipped, I get back on the horse, I get back in there and have another go. Other people take the other route and they look for science and this and that and help. It's like, are you hard enough to do this? Can you do this again? Can you get back on the horse? To answer your question, I don't think he's got anything. I mean, the weight cuts will exacerbate your chances of getting knocked out. But when you start getting clipped time after time after time, the best example is Chuck Liddell. You could hit him with a baseball bat towards the end. You know, everyone was knocking him out. Who's some other good ones, Paul?
Oh,
some other people that just couldn't take a shot towards the end.
Frankie Edgar started getting clipped a lot and getting hit with stuff, and he was a guy that was always durable as hell and could march forward and take anything. Cowboy was getting clipped really good.
He got knocked out with a shoulder bump off McGregor.
Big Rig.
Right?
Big Rig. Johnny Hendricks. Johnny Hendricks had the iron chin for the longest time, and then it just gone.
Yeah.
There's some others, though. There's plenty of others. But anyway, Paul, what's your answer?
So, I mean, I was kind of joking about the whole mushroom thing, but I agree with you that a lot of it, once you've gotten a certain amount of concussions, you look at it in any other sport too. It's just they become more prevalent. They become easier. Your brain, I think, to protect itself, starts shutting it down so it doesn't take that amount of trauma anymore. So if you've been concussed, knocked out, or even in sparring, it doesn't even all have to. People got to remember too that there's sparring going on in between all these fights. How hard are these guys sparring? All that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't think that the jaw certainly doesn't have anything to do with you getting knocked out. And the neck, yeah, if you've got a really frail neck, maybe your head whips around a little easier. But all of us are grappling. Everyone's doing lifting. Everyone's strong. I don't think that really comes down to it. I do think doing things to take care of your brain, like if you know you get headaches and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no magic sauce, man. It's just rest if you've been knocked out or had a really bad concussion, and yeah, father time. It starts to take you easier.
Contrary to what I said earlier, of course, you want a strong neck. That's going to minimize your chances of getting knocked out. Having a big, strong, masculine jaw will also help, okay? Yeah. But the reality is we're doing all this training anyway. We're not chewing jaws or sizes, okay? Have you ever, I'm not trying to shit on the products, by the way. Some people, you know, they want to define the cheekbones and stuff.
I've seen all this stuff. Yeah, I've never done it.
Have you met a fighter? Have you met a fighter that like I'm doing my jaws a sizer?
Not on purpose, but I do remember a lot of guys and still see a lot of guys always chewing gum, I think, for that reason. To just kind of tighten up the jaw. But that can also give you headaches and cause more issues than it's worth. I think strengthening your neck, period.
You can take a shot. You've got a chin or you don't, ultimately. Maybe there is microscopic advancements maybe that you can make throughout doing this other stuff, you know, but generally when you get to the UFC, for example, as a professional fighter, you show up as the version of yourself. You know what I mean? And yeah, you might see some physical changes over the years. You might look at someone's career at the start and to the end, and yeah, they've packed on more muscle and all the rest of it. But ultimately, it's the same human being, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I think I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones. I think I either have just a rock head or, again, genetics, maybe the way my brain sits in my head, and who knows.
To completely contradict what I just said, some people do have very different body shapes. You know, you could be 19-year-old Vitor Belfort. You could be 2000 and whatever, or you could be fucking not on the juice anymore.
A melted,
you know what I mean? You could be the melted tea bag. So some people go through different processes. Brian, what else do we have? Oh, Johnny Hendricks. He's another one.
Wow.
Johnny Hendricks. He came off the juice. Come on, there was a big difference there.
Yeah.
Big rig, big belly.
Yep.
With all the controversial,
like Johnny, nice guy.
With all the controversial reffing we have going on, here's another question from Roland Hooks' daughter.
Oh.
This is Roland Wixer's daughter from Germany. Hello, sexy
crazy.
Mike. No homo. And sexy Paul. No homo. Which one of you would be the better UFC referee?
That's a good question.
Why has she got a stuffed chicken?
Because they're wild, bro.
Because there's gooners on the internet and she's not trying to show off for it.
Oh, yeah. Brian knows. Well, I refereed Cage Warriors back in the day. Yeah. I refereed for Cage Warriors, and it was around about the time that Mark Goddard had just started, because Mark was fighting originally around the same time I was on Cage Rage and Cage Warriors, and Mark had started doing it, and I wasn't fighting on this Cage Warriors event, but I was the champ, and they wanted, bring you on as a guest referee, and I wish I could remember who the fighter was, but I almost got into a fight with the cornerman of the guy, one of the fighters. He was a European dude. He was super cocky. And as they come in, you gotta do the whole thing. I was checking him down and whatnot. And he was talking shit to me, and I wasn't trying to build a career as a fighter. So I was like, you, man. I'm just doing my job. And he was giving me shit back and all the rest of it. And then someone had to come in and like, whoa. I'm like, no, I'm good. So we had the fight, and I think I did an okay job refereeing it. There was a knockout. There was a stoppage. It might have gone a bit long. I might have not have jumped in as soon as I could have done. I was like, you want to talk shit to me, bro? Right before you're about to get your ass kicked, you're going to take a few more shots. That's a totally made-up story, that part at the end.
Okay. But you did referee.
I did referee, and I did almost have a fight with the guy and then get into an argument. I'm just talking about the ending of the fight. That was added on for comedy purposes.
Well, I think I would be an okay referee, but you've got more experience even in that one fight. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to say I think you would be the better referee. You've done it at least once.
It doesn't have to be a competition, though. I'm just looking here. I can't find an image. I
don't know.
Fighters should be referees.
No. I think judges. I think they should. I think there should be some fight. But that is a tricky thing too, though, because we have a lot of relationships with so many fighters. Like, think about it right now. If like me and you were brought on to start judging fights, think about how many of these guys we know. We've done meetings with them. We have. I'm not saying it would sway us, but it's even harder for us than the random people that are picked and brought in as judges to kind of judge the fight.
I do like it when I see Chris Lieben by the side of the octagon judging the fights. I think that is a tremendous move, and I would like to see more of it. Also, just to give, it's like we're looking down on our lofty perch as UFC commentators, which I am so grateful, and I know you are, Paul. And, this is a dream scenario for a former fighter. It is. So I very much cherish and value my job. I would like to see, stuff like referees, judges, more opportunities given to former fighters. The problem is, though, you do have to take it seriously. And a lot of fighters don't have the ability to have the discipline with what's required. And that sounds like I'm trying to shit on my fellow fighters. I'm not. But you've got to, it's the real world now.
Yeah,
you can't just show up late. You've got to be on time. You've got to be professional. You've got to be someone that can be trusted, know?
Yeah.
And not all and fighters are wild people by nature.
And I think a lot of fighters even learn that with our position. Sometimes they get these opportunities to do the desk, and some do brilliantly, and some, I'm not going to name any names or really call anybody out, but some people show up and just have not done a thing and think that it's easy to just get up there in front of that camera and talk for hours about these fights. It's like, look, there's research, there's name pronunciations, there's dealing with producers and formats and understanding the flow of a situation. It's a lot harder than it seems. Just because the fight game doesn't mean that you can talk about it on television. You know what I mean? It's 100%. One thing to sit and talk about it with your friends. It's another thing to do it with another panel of analysts and break it down intelligently on camera.
I love it, though, because we commentate for 7 hours, 7 hours live TV. And sometimes I'm worse than you. I'll trip over my words here and there. And some dickhead post the clip on Twitter. It's like, dude, just done 7 hours of live TV. Okay. Yep. You try and speak for 7 hours, let alone on live TV without stuttering here or there or tripping over a word.
You're going to trip over your words. You're going to do it. And when anybody's like, they get frustrated about it when we're working
especially
together.
Especially when it's Nursultan Ruzaboyev taking on
Yes, a Stoltzfus. Justin Stoltzfus.
Yeah,
it gets hard. I mean, flubbing over your words, especially on those stand-ups when we're kind of like making it up as we go and trying to figure it out. Because we kind of get told that. I mean, I know it's probably in the format, but
no.
Me and you are always like, wait, what are we talking? What exactly are we talking about here?
We're doing live TV, right? For example, though, John Gooden Saturday night, not talking shit. John Gooden's like is always like anxious last minute, and I'm like, because I'll go up to John Anik, I'll go up to Brendan Fitzgerald. And I'll say, what's the traffic? What's the opening comment? And they'll say, we're going to say this, and then this, and then that.
Mike, you're going to talk about this.
So I've got a quick second to think about what we're going to say. And I'm like, John, what are we saying? And he's like, and I'm like, all right, the play-by-play guy gets to write down exactly what they're going to say. They get to write their leads. We'll just make it up as we go along. Fine, throw it to me, baby. No problem.
Yeah, he love him to death. He gets frazzled.
He's great.
Niner was texting me during the broadcast. He's like, I think this dude brought the whole pharmacy in his kitchen with him over because he's stage managing next to him. John's got nasal sprays. He's got lip balms. He's got a whole thing of honey. He had the whole thing of honey for
Manuka.
Yeah.
Manuka. Yeah, but he loves his job. He takes it very, very seriously. He's always prepared.
He's always prepared. And he almost wants to over-prepare on stuff. And that's why, again, not talking shit. It's just everyone's different, right? Brendan's got his own thing. Anik writes them all out on his cards. He's got his own way of doing stuff. Rogan does his thing where he just shows up. You know what I mean? He knows these guys. He's been doing it so long. And, you do your notes your way and DC's guys. So it's always fun to see how everybody's got their different ways to prepare.
It's a process, as you guys would say, or in England, we would say it's a process. And regardless, this podcast has been a process, and it's also coming to an end. If you haven't subscribed to the goddamn podcast, do yourself a favor and do us a favor. If you're not going to like this episode, then don't bother tuning in next week. Just like the bloody episode. Leave a comment. Helps out with the algorithm. And give Brian and Harrington a follow on social media. I'd say Paul Felder as well, but he's an international superstar. He doesn't need that.
I just would like to add, if you join the membership and you're trying to get into the Discord, you don't hit the Discord link. For some reason that doesn't work. You have to go to your Discord, go to your settings, integrations, link your Discord account to your YouTube page, to our YouTube page, and it'll automatically let you in.
I'm saying that sounds like a lot of work.
You just got to go to settings.
It's just a beep boop bop.
It's a couple beep boops.
A beep boop bop boop beep
bop.
Yeah, maybe the one you said. It's a couple of beeps and boops.
It sounds like a beep boop bop boop beep.
Yeah,
not
it
a
might
beep
be
boop
that.
Bop. It sounds like because my son set it up. Has Callum up?
No, it's just less intuitive to do this than I'd like it to be.
Has Callum?
No, it's not him. It's literally just a function of like getting in through the membership.
All right, so listen, do yourself a favor and do a beep boop bop boop beep and subscribe. That's the show, boys and girls. Take it easy.